I've shattered every boundary I once held sacred. I watched, wanted, touched what was never meant to be mine. I let desire devour my conscience while Archie, my stepson, watched in silence. I should feel disgusted, but worse, I feel alive. I betrayed trust, twisted love into lust, and dragged Calixta into a fire we can't escape. I am the architect of this chaos. No excuses, no redemption, just guilt, raw, shameful, and deserved. I destroyed everything, and I can't take it back. I wasn't supposed to be back until tomorrow. But after days of negotiations, late dinners, and too many hours spent pretending to smile, I needed space, my space. The kind of silence that only comes from being alone in familiar walls. As the cab pulled up, the city still buzzed with its usual chaos. But something in me was already detaching, yearning for quiet. I stepped into the cool lobby of my building, heels clicking softly against the marble, each step echoing a deep exhaustion. The doorman wasn't there. Odd, but I was too drained to care. The elevator ride felt eternal. I leaned against the wall, eyes closed, already picturing the soft light of my living room lamp, the warmth of my favorite blanket, and the glass of wine I'd promised myself. But when the elevator doors slid open, a strange stillness greeted me. My hallway, usually welcoming, felt off, too quiet, too dark. A chill ran down my spine. I pushed open my door, expecting peace. Instead, I was met with darkness, save for the flickering TV light and the low hum of someone. In that moment, I knew normal had left the room long before I walked in. At first, I don't believe what I'm seeing. My mind rejects it, tries to twist the image into something innocent. Maybe they're just cuddling, maybe I'm misinterpreting, but the flickering television betrays them, casting just enough light to reveal the truth in all its raw, breathless clarity. Archie's body moves rhythmically, his hands possessive and urgent. Calixta's soft gasps rise like incense into the stillness. Her head is thrown back, her eyes closed, lips parted. They're completely lost in each other. And I'm still standing here, watching. The weight of my luggage feels like lead in my hand, but I can't seem to move. My heart is racing, thudding so hard I fear they'll hear it. A part of me is horrified, screaming inside to walk away, to slam the door and forget. But another part, something far more dangerous, holds me in place. It's not just shock anymore. It's fascination, it's longing, it's the gut-wrenching realization that I'm not just disturbed, I'm aroused. Calixta shifts, her long hair cascading over the edge of the cushion. Her face turns slightly toward me. I hold my breath, but her eyes remain closed, lost in the moment. Her beauty, so brazen, so effortless, grips me. I've always admired her wit, her energy, but I never allowed myself to see her like this. Until now. Then the suitcase slips from my hand. The thud is loud and final. It slices through the moans, through the magic, like a blade. Archie jerks up instantly, his eyes wide with panic. Calixta gasps, clutching a nearby throw blanket to her chest, scrambling to sit upright. The room is filled with tension so thick it clings to my skin. Mom? Archie's voice cracks. We didn't know. You weren't supposed to be back yet. I stare at them, at him, half naked and trembling, at her, flushed and trembling in a different way. My mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Shame, confusion, heat, all warring inside me. I manage a small nod, trying to mask the emotional storm erupting inside. I caught an earlier flight. I finally say, my voice steady though everything inside me is anything but. Calixta pulls the blanket tighter around her, her face a mask of apology. I'm so sorry, she murmurs. We didn't mean for you to see this. I'll just go to my room, I whisper, stepping back into the hallway. But the image is already burned into me, and something inside me has undeniably changed. I stumble into my bedroom, closing the door behind me with a trembling hand. It clicks softly, but the sound feels deafening in the silence that follows. I lean against it, chest heaving, my pulse pounds so loudly I can hear it in my ears. My skin is flushed, my breath shallow. The images from the living room loop behind my eyelids like a fevered dream. What's wrong with me? Why didn't I look away? I slide down the door until I'm sitting on the floor, knees pulled to my chest. My hands tremble as I press them against my flushed face. I can still see the curve of Calixta's bare thigh, the way her fingers tangled in Archie's hair, the expression on her face, unguarded, lost in pleasure. That look haunts me. It's not just what I saw, it's what I felt. I've spent years mastering control, at work, in relationships, even in grief. After Archie's father passed, I threw myself into order, into expectations. I became the provider, the caretaker, the composed woman who didn't crack. But tonight cracked me. I've always thought Calixta was striking. There's something about her, an energy, a boldness, a natural sensuality she doesn't seem to know she carries. But I never let myself look at her through that lens. I wouldn't allow it. Now I can't stop. I stand slowly, shaky on my feet, and walk to the mirror. I barely recognize myself, cheeks flushed, pupils dilated, hair a mess from the long flight. My reflection doesn't lie, I'm turned on. By what I saw, by her. The shame hits next, a cold wave of disgust at myself. She's young, she's dating my stepson, this is madness. And yet, as I undress mechanically, trying to shed the guilt with each piece of clothing, I know nothing will wash it away. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling. The sheets cool against my skin, but my body still burns. I replay the moment when our eyes nearly met. If hers had opened just a second sooner, would she have seen me? Would she have turned away? Or... No, stop. I squeeze my eyes shut and pull the blanket over me like a shield. But it's too late. The door's already open. Something inside me has awakened. And no matter how much I want to, I can't go back to who I was before I walked through that door. I retreat to my bedroom, the door clicking shut behind me like the closing of a vault. But there's no locking out what I've seen, or what I felt. I drop my suitcase near the dresser and press my palms against the edge of the vanity. Staring into the mirror, I barely recognize the woman looking back at me. Her eyes are too wide, like she's just survived a storm. Her cheeks are flushed, not just from exhaustion, but from something deeper, shame, guilt, and arousal she has no business feeling. I splash cold water on my face, hoping it will dull the vivid image that's been seared into my mind. Archie's hands roaming Calixta's body with a hunger I hadn't expected from him. Her soft whimper, the way her body arched under his touch, the way I wanted to be the one receiving that kind of devotion. I sit on the edge of the bed, towel pressed to my face, and try to slow my breathing. This isn't me. I've never crossed boundaries like this, not in thought, not in desire. But now, something's shifted, a line has been blurred, and I'm left grasping for clarity in a room spinning with memory. A soft knock breaks the silence. It's Calixta. Sarah, she calls gently. Her voice is hesitant, vulnerable. I open the door. She's wrapped in the throw blanket, still clearly shaken. Her eyes flick to mine and then drop to the floor. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, she says. We didn't mean for you to see that. It was disrespectful, and I understand if you're upset. I shake my head. My voice is low, composed only by willpower. You don't need to apologize. I should have called before I came home. It's not your fault. She glances up. Our eyes lock for a moment too long. The air thickens. I'll leave, if that makes it easier, she says softly. No, I respond, too quickly. You're welcome to stay. And I mean it, for reasons I don't fully understand. I don't want her to go. Calixta offers a tight, grateful smile and nods. Okay, good night, Sarah. I close the door again, slower this time, my hand lingering on the knob. Good night, indeed. But the night is far from over, at least in my mind. The image of them, of her, plays again. And as I lie back in bed, eyes wide open, I know sleep will not come easy tonight. Morning arrives like an unwelcome guest, peeling back the shadows of the night but doing nothing to clear the fog in my head. I go through the motions, shower, Coffee. News on low volume, but everything feels hollow. The apartment still holds the scent of them. Her. The faint perfume of Calixta's skin still clings to the couch cushions like a ghost. I avoid the living room altogether. I tell myself I need fresh air. Distraction. Something to sever the loop of memory replaying in my mind. I dress carefully, choosing a sleek black dress and heels, and head to an art exhibit a colleague recommended weeks ago. It's the kind of high-profile event that usually makes me feel sophisticated, in control. But tonight, I feel anything but. The gallery buzzes with soft jazz, murmured conversation, and the clinking of champagne glasses. I wander from canvas to canvas. But the images blur. The colors feel too vivid. The shapes too raw. And then, I see her. Calixta. She stands alone near a large, abstract piece, bold strokes of red slashing through a storm of blue. She looks electric. The lights catch her hair. And for a moment, she doesn't notice me. I consider walking away, pretending I didn't see her. But I don't. As if drawn by an invisible thread, I approach. She turns just as I near, her expression flickering from surprise to something unreadable. Sarah, she says, her voice soft but steady. Calixta, I manage. Didn't expect to run into you here. She nods slowly, her eyes flicking back to the painting. It's powerful, isn't it? I glance at it. It's unsettling. She smiles faintly, like most honest things. The words hang between us. There's a charge in the air, subtle, but unmistakable. Our shoulders nearly touch as we study the painting, but neither of us steps back. My heart is a riot in my chest. I can smell her again, jasmine, warmth, memory. I'm sorry, again, for last night, she says without looking at me. It wasn't your fault, I reply. I shouldn't have just walked in like that. She finally meets my gaze. Still, it was strange. Intimate. I keep thinking about it. My breath catches. Me too, I confess. A pause. Then, a few friends are heading to a rooftop bar after this. She says carefully, you should come. I hesitate. Logic screams no. But desire whispers yes. I'd like that, I say. The rooftop bar sits atop one of the city's gleaming towers, a hidden oasis suspended above the noise. The skyline stretches endlessly before us, glittering like a sea of scattered diamonds. Calixta leads me to a corner booth draped in soft shadows. We slide in, our legs brushing beneath the table, a touch that feels accidental, but lingers longer than it should. The air is warm, intoxicating, so is her presence. We sip cocktails that taste of citrus and summer, and the conversation flows with surprising ease. We talk about art, about music, about the things we never say out loud in daylight. There's no small talk, just raw honesty wrapped in velvet tones. I always feel like I'm performing, Calixta says suddenly, her gaze fixed on the rim of her glass. Even with Archie, especially with him. I glance at her, surprised. Vulnerability clings to her voice. Fragile but fearless. I always feel like I'm performing, Calixta says suddenly, her gaze fixed on the rim of her glass. Even with Archie, especially with him. I glance at her, surprised. Vulnerability clings to her voice. Fragile but fearless. Why? I ask. She looks up at me, her dark eyes searching mine. Because I don't think he sees all of me, not the parts that ache. The heat in the air thickens, humming beneath the surface. I don't have an answer, only the certainty that I see her more clearly in this moment than I ever have. You deserve to be seen, I say quietly, completely. Her lips part, as if to speak, but she doesn't. Instead, her hand brushes mine across the table. It's barely a touch, but it sends a jolt through me that I feel in my stomach. My chest. Lower. I don't know what this is, she says after a beat, her voice trembling now, but I feel it. Do you? I nod slowly, afraid of what it means to admit it aloud. Yes, I've felt it since last night, maybe even before that. A silence settles over us, but it isn't empty, it's charged. a spark waiting to ignite. She leans in slightly, her breath mingling with mine, scented with mint and something uniquely hers. I shouldn't want this, I whisper. Me neither, she replies, barely above a breath. And yet neither of us moves away. From across the table, our gazes lock. It's not a question of if anymore. It's a question of when. And in that moment, under the shimmer of city lights and the weight of everything we're not supposed to feel, I know. The lines between right and wrong have already blurred. And I don't want them to become clear again. We linger longer than we should. The rooftop empties slowly around us, but neither of us notices until the bartender starts stacking stools. Time has slipped through our fingers like warm sand. And now the night holds a weight neither of us dares to name. Calixta tucks a loose strand of hair behind her ear, her fingers trembling just enough for me to notice. I should head home, she says, but there's no conviction in her voice. Only hesitation, hope. Let me walk you down, I offer. She nods. The elevator is nearly silent as we step inside, the doors gliding shut behind us with a soft hiss. She stands inches away, arms crossed, eyes forward, but I can feel the electricity bouncing between us, pulsing like a low current under our skin. Then the elevator jerks, a sudden lurch, followed by a loud, mechanical crack. The lights flicker once, then vanish. We're plunged into darkness. I hear her gasp. My hand instinctively finds hers. Her fingers curl around mine, tight, grounding. Are you okay? I whisper. I think so, she replies, her voice softer than I've ever heard it, just startled. The stillness between us grows charged. In the black, we're unshackled, no eyes, no judgment, just breath and body. I can smell the jasmine on her skin. I can feel the heat radiating off her. I'm sorry about earlier, she murmurs. For what? I ask, barely breathing. For touching your hand, and not being able to stop thinking about it. I can't help it. I turn toward the sound of her voice. Reaching blindly, my fingers brush her cheek. Her skin is warm, feverish. She leans into my touch like she's been waiting for it. And then, before I can second guess myself, my lips find hers. It's soft at first, tentative, searching, but the hunger beneath it is impossible to contain. She responds instantly, her hands in my hair, her breath ragged, the kiss deepens, lips parting, tongues meeting with a desperation that tastes of longing and fear and something we haven't dared name. The elevator becomes a world of its own. No past, no future, only now. I grip her waist, feel the curve of her body press against mine. She moans into my mouth, a sound so honest it sends a shock straight to my core. We shouldn't be doing this. But nothing has ever felt more real. And even as the lights suddenly blink back on and the elevator jolts to life, neither of us lets go. The elevator doors slide open with a soft ding that feels far too loud in the silence between us. We step out together, breathless, the air still heavy with the kiss we haven't spoken about. Neither of us dares to speak. Not yet. I fumble for my keys, trying to steady my hand as I unlock the door to my apartment. Calixta stands beside me, her face flushed, eyes avoiding mine, lips still parted like she can still feel me. Do you want to come in? I ask, voice husky with everything I'm not saying. She hesitates. Then nods. Inside, the world is still and dim. I don't bother turning on the lights. Somehow, brightness feels like betrayal. We move through the soft shadows like strangers in familiar skin. I offer her water. She takes it with trembling fingers. We don't sit. And then there's a knock. I freeze. It's Archie. My chest tightens as I open the door. He steps inside like he's done 100 times. But his expression is unreadable tonight, too calm, too knowing. I need to talk to you, he says, looking at me, then at Calixta behind me. His jaw clenches slightly. The tension thickens. I brace myself for confrontation, but his next words are unthinkable. I know what happened, in the elevator. The air disappears from the room. Calixta steps back. I swallow hard. How? I saw the camera feed. His voice is flat, controlled. Building security glitched during the outage. I got the alert, and I watched. There's no fury, no shouting, just something far more unsettling, clarity. I'm not angry, he adds, eyes flicking to Calixta, then back to me. In fact, I've been thinking. My blood runs cold. Thinking? He nods. About what this is, about how I've always sensed something between you two, and how maybe the boundaries we think we have aren't as rigid as we believe. Calixta steps forward, whispering, Archie, what are you saying? He meets her eyes. I'm saying, I want to understand it. To see it. I don't want to lose either of you. But I need to know the truth. Completely. Then, he says it. I want to watch. The room collapses into silence. My mouth opens, but nothing comes out. He means it, every word, and though my brain reels in shock, somewhere in the shadows of my shame, is a flicker of curiosity. A question I don't yet dare answer. But I will. The air between us vibrates with tension. But no one moves. Archie stands tall, steady, watching me with a mix of boldness and vulnerability that shakes something deep in my core. I expect revulsion, a storm of blame, but it never comes. Just invitation. I want to watch, he says again, quieter this time. I want to understand what pulls you two together. What I never saw. I glance at Calixta. She looks frozen, flushed. Eyes wide, lips parted, but she doesn't step away. She doesn't run. She looks curious, unsettled, intrigued. Archie, I say, my voice shaky, this isn't something we can just pretend away. This changes everything. I know, he says simply, but pretending hasn't helped either. I see you, Sarah, and I see her, and whatever this is, I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose you. The raw honesty in his voice disarms me. And then I realize he's serious. Later that evening, I text Calixta, dinner at my place. Just us. When she arrives, the apartment is warm and dim. Candles flickering, soft music humming in the background. She walks in with caution, but her eyes say everything. I'm here. For this. Archie doesn't appear, but I know he's nearby. Watching. The heat between us is unbearable. My hands brush hers as I lead her to the table. But the moment we sit, it becomes clear, we're past pretending. I haven't stopped thinking about you, I whisper. Her lips tremble, me neither. I lean in, our mouths meet, slow and trembling at first, then bolder. Deeper, her hand cups my cheek. Mine traces her thigh. The world fades into pulses of breath and aching skin. There's no turning back. And somewhere in the quiet, from beyond the room, I can feel him, watching. Unseen but present, part of it all. And somehow, impossibly, it doesn't feel wrong. We never make it to the dinner table. The food grows cold in the kitchen. Forgotten. Our conversation, once laced with caution, gives way to a charged silence. One that speaks louder than words. I reach for her hand. She doesn't flinch. Instead, she threads her fingers through mine, slowly. Deliberately. Her skin is warm, pulsing with anticipation. I feel it too. We stand, and I lead her to the living room. The same room where, just nights ago, I witnessed her body moving beneath Archie's. The memory is vivid, electric, but this is something else entirely. She turns to face me, eyes soft but unblinking. Are you sure? She whispers, though we both know we've already crossed the threshold. I answer with a kiss. It's not hesitant this time. It's full-bodied, breath-stealing, need-heavy. My hands find her waist. Her arms wrap around my neck. She gasps into my mouth as our bodies press together, no longer hiding from the truth. And somewhere, he's watching. Archie. Hidden, quiet, present. That knowledge should paralyze me. But it doesn't. It makes every touch feel amplified. Every sigh more intimate. I shouldn't want this, but I do. Calixta's shirt slips from her shoulders, revealing soft skin kissed by candlelight. I trace my fingers down the curve of her spine. Her breath catches. She reaches for the buttons on my blouse. We undress each other with reverence and urgency, like we're discovering something sacred we'd spent years denying. When I lay her back on the couch, the same couch, she opens to me with a trust that breaks something inside me. I kiss her neck, her collarbone, her chest, following the path of heat and heartbeat. The room is filled with whispered names and quiet moans, the kind of sounds that only happen when truth is laid bare. I don't look toward the hallway. I don't need to. I feel him there. And somehow, his presence doesn't steal from the moment. It deepens it. We move together, Calixta and I, not just with lust, but with need, the kind of need that makes your soul ache, the kind that rewrites your story. And as she cries out beneath me, fingers digging into my back, I know with terrifying clarity, I can't go back. I don't want to. Even if it burns everything to the ground, I will carry this flame. Calixta lies beneath me, her lips parted, skin glowing with a soft sheen of heat. Her fingers are tangled in my hair, tugging gently as if trying to pull me closer, as if I could melt into her. Every kiss, every brush of my hand against her skin, feels like fire licking along the edge of a forbidden scripture. We aren't speaking anymore. Words have no place here, not when our bodies are speaking louder than anything our mouths could say. I trail kisses along her stomach, savoring the way her muscles twitch beneath my touch. She shivers, moans, arches into me like she's been waiting for this moment longer than either of us will ever admit aloud. I feel her unravel beneath me, and in that unraveling, I come undone too. But we're not alone. I can feel him. Archie. Watching. A shadow behind the doorframe, a presence thick in the air, and yet I don't flinch. Neither does she. There's no shame in her eyes, only trust. Desire, something dangerously close to belonging. As she pulls me back up and kisses me, deeper now. Slower, my heart pounds in rhythm with hers. It's not just sex anymore. It's revelation. It's a surrender I never thought myself capable of. And he sees it all. He sees me stripped down not just in flesh, but in vulnerability. He sees Calixta give herself to me not out of impulse, but out of something more raw, more truthful. As our bodies tangle again, I find myself wondering not why this is happening, but how we ever denied it in the first place. The rules we once clung to have disintegrated, replaced by instinct, connection, and a desire that defies moral simplicity. Calixta whispers my name, soft, reverent. And as we both fall over the edge, shaking, breathless, bare, I know he feels it too. Not jealousy. Understanding. The kind that terrifies and excites. The kind that says, this is only the beginning.